The orbital palace of SciFi-Prime floated like a jewel among the stars, silver towers reflecting the distant light of the twin suns. The humans had only recently begun exploring this sector of the galaxy. The Lycerans, a species renowned for their beauty, intelligence, and psychic powers, were both fascinating and intimidating. For a human security officer, this mission was unlike anything he had ever faced. He stood on the observation deck of the transport shuttle, watching the palace grow larger as it rotated in space. His heart beat faster, but he reminded himself to stay calm. He had trained for years for situations like this, protecting someone important in a dangerous environment. Yet nothing in his training had prepared him for the feeling of awe that gripped him now. "Relax, AED," he whispered to himself. "It's just another assignment." The doors of the shuttle opened, and a Lyceran aide greeted him with a graceful bow. "Welcome to SciFi-Prime. Officer AED, Princess Leora awaits you." So I'm in Raya Guraya wa Saya Raya Karada Kasawa Amatawa. And Aweed realized instantly that even speech could feel like art to the Lycerans. He followed her through corridors, made of translucent crystal. The walls glimmered faintly, changing colors like liquid sunlight. Guards in polished armor flanked the hallways, their expressions unreadable. Everything about this place screamed elegance and precision, and danger. Finally, they reached the inner chamber. Ada expected the princess to be surrounded by a dozen advisors or soldiers, but instead, he saw her alone. She was taller than he had imagined, her skin shimmering faintly like moonlight, but her eyes, a bright violet, seemed to look straight into his soul. She smiled, a gesture so calm and confident that Ad felt both honored and nervous. "I chose you even before they sent you," she said. Ad froze. He wasn't sure if she meant it literally or figuratively, but the weight of her words pressed on him. A human had been chosen before the official decision. Somehow, this simple statement made him feel both important and responsible for everything that would follow. "I'm honored, Princess," Ad managed to say, keeping his voice steady. "I will do my best to protect you." Leora's smile deepened. "I do not doubt it. Humans have a way of seeing things that others cannot. You may surprise me." Ada swallowed hard. He had trained to handle threats, but he hadn't prepared for this kind of recognition. He nodded and fell into step beside her as she led him through the palace. The first few days were a trial. Every move AED made was observed by both humans and Lycerans alike. The palace was not just a home, it was a fortress, filled with hidden doors, sensors, and guards that could react in an instant. AED quickly learned that the Lycerans were far more than they appeared. Their grace and intelligence were matched by a sharpness of mind and reflexes that made human training seem limited. Despite this, Ad adapted. He found that human intuition something that sometimes felt crude compared to. Lysoran precision gave him an edge in unexpected ways. When a maintenance drone malfunctioned near the main hall, he reacted before anyone else, pulling a technician out of the way just in time. The Lyceran guards observed silently, but later, a few nodded in approval. One evening, as the twin suns set, Leora invited Ad to walk with her in the palace gardens. The gardens floated above the city in open terraces. Filled with plants that shimmered in colors unknown to Earth, Ada tried to keep his attention on the conversation, but his eyes kept drifting to the alien flora. Feeling a sense of wonder, "You are different from what I expected," Leora said, her voice calm but curious. "Most humans struggle to adapt to our ways. You You adjust without hesitation. AED smiled modestly. I guess humans have to. We survive because we find ways to adapt. She looked at him, her violet eyes shining with interest. Yes, that is what I sensed. Long before you arrived, I felt that you would come. That you would be the one who could see beyond what is immediate and act with instinct. Her words made AD uneasy. Humans weren't known for psychic connections, or anything remotely like it. And yet, standing here with her, he felt a strange energy in the air, as if some invisible thread had pulled him to this place. Their walk was interrupted by a sudden alarm. Red lights flashed across the terraces and a loud siren echoed through the palace. IED immediately went into action, scanning the surroundings. Leora remained calm, standing tall as if she had expected the interruption. Stay close, she said, her tone firm but composed. They hurried back to the inner chambers, where a Lyceron guard reported that a security breach had occurred in one of the lower sectors. Something or someone had tried to bypass the palace's defense grid. AED felt a surge of adrenaline. This was what he had trained for, protecting someone under threat. As they moved through the corridors, AED's human instincts kicked in. He noticed subtle signs the guards overlooked. A faint scuff mark on the polished floor, a small shift in the air currents. Following his intuition, he led Leora down a less obvious route. Moments later, a group of intruders appeared at the junction they had avoided. Without hesitation, AD acted. He positioned himself between the intruders and Leora, his movements precise but instinctual. The intruders, a mix of rogue humans and mercenaries, attacked, but AD's timing and quick thinking kept him ahead. Leora watched him with calm approval, stepping slightly aside, but ready to use her own abilities if necessary, by the time reinforcements arrived. The intruders were subdued. AID's human ingenuity had prevented what could have been a disaster. He looked at Leora, expecting criticism, or at least surprise. Instead, she simply nodded. You were right to trust your instincts, she said softly. Most would have followed protocol and walked right into danger. AED exhaled, feeling both relief and pride. I'm just doing my job, Princess. Leora smiled again, a quiet, knowing smile. You are doing more than that, Ayed. You are proving that humans can be trusted where others fail. I believe this is only the beginning. Over the following days, Ayed continued to adapt to life in the palace. He trained with Lyceron guards, learning their methods, while sharing his own techniques. Slowly, he noticed subtle changes in the way others reacted to him. Some humans seemed surprised at how capable he was. Some Lycerons watched with curiosity rather than skepticism. One night, as ID reviewed security protocols in his quarters, Leora appeared at the doorway. You are thinking too much, she said, stepping inside. Your mind is sharp, but your instincts will serve you better if you trust them. You were chosen because I sensed that balance in you. I had smiled faintly. I'll try to remember that, she nodded, her expression serious now. Do, because soon your instincts will be tested in ways you cannot yet imagine. He felt a chill run down his spine, but he didn't show it. Somehow, he knew that she was right. There was something coming, something dangerous and unexpected. And somehow, he was meant to face it alongside her, in the quiet moments that followed. Ad gazed out at the vast city below, glowing softly under the twin suns. He realized that life on SciFi-Prime was unlike anything he had ever known. Every shadow, every corridor, every glance could conceal danger or opportunity. And yet, for the first time, he felt that humans had a place here, not just as visitors or soldiers, but as something unique, valuable, and irreplaceable. He thought of Leora's words. I chose you even before they sent you. He didn't fully understand them yet. But he knew one thing for certain. This mission would define him, and perhaps it would define humanity's role in the galaxy. As the twin suns set and the palace glimmered like a beacon in the dark, AAD felt a strange sense of destiny settling over him. He had arrived as a guard, but he might leave as something far more important. A bridge between two worlds. A human whose courage and intuition could shape the fate of an alien civilization. The palace of SciFi-Prime buzzed with an energy Ayed had not felt before. Since the sabotage attempt a few days ago, the security protocols had tightened. Guards moved in calculated patterns, sensors scanned every corner, and the atmosphere was tense but controlled. Despite the order, Aid could feel something deeper, an undercurrent of uncertainty. "Princess." Leora walked beside him through the palace corridors. Unlike before, her expression was serious, her violet eyes scanning the surroundings with sharp focus. Aid had learned to notice every subtle movement she made. He realized that while Lycerons could rely on psychic senses to anticipate danger, humans had to rely on instinct and observation. That difference, he was beginning to understand, was why she had chosen him. Officer AAD Leora said quietly, "You have been here only a short time, yet you adapt faster than most Lycerons do." AED shifted uncomfortably. "I just try to pay attention. I guess it's what humans do." She gave a small, almost amused smile. "Yes, that is what I sensed. Humans are unpredictable. You think in ways we cannot. That makes you valuable." IAD felt a mix of pride and unease. Valuable, yes, but for what? He did not yet understand the full meaning of her words. Their conversation was interrupted by a report from the Palace Security Center. A data leak had occurred. Someone had accessed sensitive information about the princess's schedule and her upcoming diplomatic meetings. AID's mind sharpened immediately. "Do we know who did it?" he asked. The Lyceron chief of security shook his head. "Not yet. The breach was subtle. Whoever did it knows our systems well." Leora's lips pressed together. "That is the work of the insurgents." Her tone was calm, but I had noticed the slight tension in her shoulders. "They have opposed my family for generations, seeking to overthrow the monarchy. They are clever, patient, and ruthless. But they underestimate humans." Dee frowned. "Underestimate humans?" "You," she said simply. "Your mind works differently. You do not rely on predictability alone. That makes you dangerous to those who think they can control everything." For the next few days, AID worked closely with Leora and the Lyceron guards, preparing for possible attacks. He trained in combat techniques that blended human tactics with Lycoran methods. The Lycerons were precise and efficient, moving like shadows, striking with deadly speed, but their style was rigid. AED's approach was chaotic, unpredictable, improvisational. Slowly, he noticed how the two methods could complement each other. One evening, the princess led him to the palace training grounds. The area was a floating platform high above the city, lined with crystalline railings that glimmered under the light of the twin moons. "Watch carefully," Leora said. She moved with fluid precision, her body a blur of controlled energy. AD tried to anticipate her moves, but each time, she was faster and more graceful. Then she paused and looked at him. "You must learn to trust your instincts. Predictability is weakness. Uncertainty can be strength." AD nodded. "I'll try." They began sparring, combining Lycoran techniques with human improvisation. AED noticed that when he deviated from the expected patterns, Leora paused, studied him, then adjusted. Over time, they developed a rhythm that neither species had used before. For the first time, AED felt that humans could be more than allies, they could be equals. The test of their growing bond came sooner than expected. During a highly veloed diplomatic event, a group of insurgents attempted a bold attack. Using false identities, they infiltrated the gathering. Carrying weapons, disguised as ceremonial artifacts, AAD was positioned near the entrance. His eyes scanned the crowd, noting subtle movements and irregular behavior. One guest, a tall figure in dark robes, kept avoiding eye contact and brushing against others. Something in his stance triggered Ada's instincts. "Princess, stay close," he said, moving toward the figure. Leora fell into step beside him, her expression calm but alert. AID intercepted the intruder just as he drew a hidden weapon. The chaos erupted instantly. Human reflexes and Lyceron agility collided in the palace halls. With AED guiding civilians to safety and neutralizing threats with quick, precise moves, Leora used her psychic senses to anticipate attacks. But it was AID's unpredictability and bold decisions that gave them the edge. After the attack, the palace was in disarray, but no one was seriously hurt. Leora turned to Ad, her eyes shining with admiration. "You see? You think in ways that cannot be predicted. That is why I chose you." Ed exhaled, exhausted. "I didn't do anything special. Just reacted." "You were extraordinary," she said. "Humans have a strength that the Lycerons often overlook. The ability to act without needing to predict every outcome. That is why we are in danger when we underestimate you." Over the next few days, the palace security tightened even further. Yet the bond between AAD and Leora strengthened. She confided in him about the insurgents, their tactics, and the political pressures she faced. He began to understand not only her role as princess, but the immense responsibility she carried. Late one night, as they reviewed intelligence in the palace, library, a vast chamber filled with glowing alien texts and holographic data, noticed something unusual. A hidden symbol appeared repeatedly in intercepted messages. Its meaning was not immediately clear, but instinct told him it was a warning. He pointed it out to Leora. "These symbols. They might be a sign of a coordinated attack. Something bigger is coming." Leora's eyes narrowed. "Yes, the insurgents are patient. They do not strike without planning. You have sharp eyes, human. I trust your instincts." Together, they devised a plan to protect the palace. ADED trained a small team of human and Lyceron allies in unconventional tactics, blending stealth, distraction, and improvisation. The Lycerons were hesitant at first, wary of deviating from their rigid protocols, but IAD's strategies worked. Slowly, they saw the value in unpredictability. Days later, the insurgents launched a coordinated attack on the palace city. Alarms blared and chaos erupted as drones and armed forces stormed the streets. AED led his team through hidden passages, intercepting threats and guiding civilians to safety. Leora moved beside him, her psychic abilities allowing them to anticipate enemy maneuvers. But it was IAD's quick thinking that kept them ahead at one point. A massive energy barrier blocked their path, cutting off the evacuation route. Ade scanned the structure, looking for weaknesses. In a moment of instinctive brilliance, he directed a small team to use a sequence of explosive charges in a pattern that would bypass the barrier. The plan worked flawlessly, opening a safe path for the fleeing citizens. After the battle, the palace stood largely intact. The insurgents had been driven back, but the message was clear: they would return. Leora approached AAD in the aftermath, the city's glowing lights reflecting in her violet eyes. "You saved countless lives today, not because of strength or training, but because you acted when others hesitated. That is human courage." Odd shook his head, feeling humbled. "I just did what I had to do." "You did more than that," Leora said softly. "You showed that humans are capable of thinking, adapting, and surviving in ways we cannot. That is why I chose you. That is why you matter here." The weight of her words settled over him. For the first time, AD realized that this mission was bigger than protecting a single person. It was about proving that humans ordinary, unpredictable humans could make a difference in a galaxy that often underestimated them. That night, as Ade looked out over the city from the palace balcony, he understood something vital. Trust was not given lightly here. It was earned through action, courage, and instinct. And he had earned it not just from Leora, but from himself. In the quiet that followed, he felt the sense of destiny grow stronger. The insurgents would return stronger and smarter, but now he was not just a guard. He was a strategist, a protector, and an example of what humans could bring to an interstellar stage, and somewhere deep inside. He knew that the challenges ahead would test him more than ever, yet for the first time, he felt ready. The sky above Lycera Prime glowed with the soft light of twin moons, but the city beneath them was in chaos. The insurgents had returned, larger and more organized than before. Their ships hovered silently in the atmosphere, and their forces infiltrated the city in multiple directions. For Aedi, there was no time to hesitate. The palace, normally a symbol of elegance and calm, now felt like a fortress under siege. Red alarms echoed through the corridors, mixing with the hum of energy shields and distant explosions. Civilians were being guided to safe zones, and Lyceron guards were stationed at every strategic point. Amid it all, Ad prepared himself for the mission that would test every skill he had learned. Princess Leora said, checking his equipment. We need to strike at the heart of their operation. If we stop them here, we can prevent further attacks. Leora nodded. Her violet eyes shone with determination. I will go with you. Together, our strengths can overcome theirs. Ad felt a surge of respect and responsibility. Fighting alongside the princess was both an honor and a risk. Yet he had learned that human intuition and courage could tip the balance. Even in a galaxy of advanced alien abilities, the plan was bold. AAD would lead a small team through the city's underground tunnels, avoiding the main battle zones to infiltrate the insurgent stronghold. Leora would use her psychic abilities to guide them, sensing dangers and providing strategic insight. The two groups moved in silence, shadows among shadows. Their footsteps muffled against the crystalline floors. AED couldn't help but notice the subtle differences between human and Lyceron tactics. Humans relied on unpredictability and improvisation. Lycerons relied on precision and foresight. By combining the two, they moved faster and smarter than any force they were facing. As they approached the insurgent stronghold, a massive gate blocked their path. Energy pulses crackled across its surface, a warning that any attempt to breach it without proper knowledge would trigger alarms. AAD crouched, scanning every detail. He noticed a sequence in the energy patterns, something the Lycerons might have overlooked. This is human intuition, he muttered. He directed his team to apply a series of synchronized charges at precise points. The energy field faltered, opening a narrow passage. Leora gave a subtle nod, impressed. Inside, the stronghold was a maze of corridors, traps, and heavily armed guards. Iade and Leora moved with precision, their combined skills allowing them to navigate without detection. At every turn, Aedes' instincts guided the team past ambushes that could have ended the mission. Lyceron guards followed, adjusting their movements to his unpredictable style. Finally, they reached the command center, where the insurgent leader awaited. He was a tall, imposing figure, his features hidden behind a mask that glimmered with technology. So, the human arrives, he sneered. I expected predictability, but you are different. Aedes stepped forward, heart steady, voice firm. Humans survive because we adapt. You underestimated that. The leader attacked immediately, activating automated defenses and his own enhanced combat abilities. Leora moved alongside AED, her psychic senses anticipating his strikes. Yet it was Aede's unpredictability, his improvisation, that allowed them to gain the upper hand. He dodged, blocked, and countered in ways the insurgent could not predict. Each move was calculated, yet instinctive. A combination of human courage and quick thinking. At a critical moment, insurgent leader tried to escape using a teleportation device. AED reacted instantly, smashing the control panel with a calculated strike. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but the escape was prevented. Leora used her psychic abilities to immobilize the leader briefly. Allowing the team to secure him, the battle over. AED and Leora emerged from the stronghold, victorious but aware that the insurgents were not fully defeated. The city had survived thanks to the unique combination of human and Lyceron strengths. Civilians cheered as they returned, their eyes wide with awe at the heroism they had witnessed. Later in the palace, Leora approached once more. The city lights reflected in her violet eyes, giving her an almost ethereal appearance. You have done more than protect me, or this city, she said softly. You have shown that humans are capable of courage, ingenuity, and leadership. You have changed how the Lycerons see your people. Aed shook his head, humbled. I just did what I had to do. No, Leora said firmly. You acted with instinct, with intuition, and with courage. That is something rare in the galaxy. That is why I chose you, and why humans will always matter. For the first time, Aed truly understood her words from the day he arrived. I chose you even before they sent you. It was not just about protecting her, it was about proving that humanity had a role to play in a galaxy far larger than themselves. The following days were filled with rebuilding and recovery. The palace was repaired, security measures improved, and trust between humans and Lycerons deepened. AAD continued to train with Leora and the guards, refining strategies that combined the best of both species. He was no longer just a human guard. He was a symbol of what humans could achieve when given trust, responsibility, and the freedom to act. One evening, as AAD stood on the palace balcony, overlooking the restored city, Leora joined him. The twin moons cast a serene glow over the rooftops, and the once chaotic streets now pulsed with calm energy. "You did more than I ever expected," she said, her voice soft yet filled with pride. "Humans are stronger than we imagined. You have proven that we can rely on your instincts, your courage, and your adaptability. That is why I chose you." Ayed looked at her, the weight of her words settling over him. He realized that being chosen was not a matter of luck, it was about potential, trust, and the ability to rise above fear and uncertainty. "I couldn't have done it without you," he said quietly. "Your guidance, your insight. It made the difference," Leora smiled. "We complement each other. That is what makes us strong. Not one species, but together. That is the lesson the galaxy must learn." Ada felt a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced. This mission had tested him in ways he could never have imagined, pushed him to limits he didn't know he had, and proved that humans were more than what many believed. He was not just a guard or a soldier, he was a bridge between worlds, a reminder that courage, ingenuity, and the human spirit could change the course of history. As the twin moons climbed higher in the sky, Aid and Leora stood together in silence. The city below glimmered like a jewel, a testament to what they had achieved. The insurgents had been defeated. For now, but the true victory was the bond forged between species, the respect earned, and the knowledge that humans had a place among the stars. Odd took a deep breath, feeling the cool night air fill his lungs. He thought of the long journey ahead, the challenges, the battles, the unknown dangers that waited in the galaxy. Yet he no longer felt fear. He had seen the power of trust, of courage, and of human ingenuity. He had witnessed how unpredictable human instincts could turn the tide of battle, and somewhere deep in his heart, he knew that the story of humans and Lycerons was just beginning. "Princess," he said softly, "whatever comes next, we'll be ready." Leora placed her hand on his shoulder, her touch firm and reassuring. "Yes, IA together, we can face anything. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Now they will see what we are capable of." The stars twinkled above, indifferent yet beautiful, as the two of them gazed into the distance. SciFi-Prime was safe, for now. But the true triumph was not just survival, it was proof that humans, their courage, intuition, and spirit, could stand alongside the greatest civilizations in the galaxy. Aidi smiled faintly. He had arrived as a guard. He would leave as something far more significant, a symbol of hope, courage, and the unyielding potential of humanity. The adventure was not over. It was only beginning.